to our video podcast. Our topic today is conflict evolution. Don't just resolve, evolve, and create inner peace. We are the Council of Conscious Leaders dedicating to help create the future of work. My name is Karen Tax, and I am moderating today's discussion with the beautiful Haven E. Carter and the beautiful Aubrey Arms. We were just talking about how beautiful we are today. And I just have to have you all know that Haven and I have been in the middle of Hurricane Florence here. So we weren't even sure we were going to do this video podcast today. And we are happy to be here. We're happy to have power. We're happy to not be flooded away. I'm very grateful to just even be able to be here. And we are talking about topics that are very important to all three of us. We are individuals working together and independently to help businesses evolve into more conscious leadership and ways of working. We believe that to be successful, the future of work depends on connection and collaboration, where our differences and talents are celebrated, really celebrated. And connection happens because together we are real and messy and human and brilliant, connecting as real human beings personally, right? Like it's not just professional, it's real. With collaboration and connection, women especially, and all people, but women are leading the way, we believe here, to come together and have greater impact and more fun. Because really, if we're not having fun at work, why bother? So first, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Aubrey, could you tell people who you are?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Karen. Hi, everyone. I'm Aubrey Arms. I'm a former human resources and operations professional who now helps women-owned businesses and leaders up-level their greatness by leveraging their feminine leadership style. Bottom line, I help you get the results you desire in a way that's fun and zero tolerance for excuses. You can find me at awakenyourgreatness.guru.
Great. Thank you, Aubrey. Haven.
Thank you, Karen. I'm Haven E. Carter. I'm an executive coach, speaker, and author. And I believe speed is the illusion of mastery. And when we slow down, we can get really clear about what's important. And then we do those one or two things that are important to us that move us forward and make us happy. And I can be found at havenecarter.com.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I am Karen Tax. I am the creator and founder of the I Am Way, which is a process that creates culture change within organizations that allows for both meaning and profitability to happen at the same time. You can find me at theiamway.com. So we are talking today about conflict evolution, not just resolving. And we're really grateful that you are with us today. And I was checking out. Yes, we have people here. Thank you for being here. We want to know that your ideas and questions are important to us. And so at the end of this conversation, we'll be addressing those. And you can put your thoughts as they come up onto the Q&A feature of Zoom or chat. And we also want you to know that we are recording this conversation, so the video will be available to you after the call. You can share it with family, friends, and colleagues who you might want to create conflict evolution with. So, related to this topic, in today's society, and all you have to do is look at politics to see this playing out, right? There's this typical stance that people take with conflict. It's almost like a default automatic thing where it's as if you're going into battle to duke it out. And it really is a matter of right, wrong, left, right, up, down. It's a battle to be won. And what ends up happening is that people come thinking that they're going to be taken advantage of, which means that they're defended, which means that they're not open. When you're in a defensive place, you're not open to learning and growing and connecting what's needed to be able to create conflict evolution instead of resolution where there's winners and losers, right? So most people have bad experiences with conflict where it is like this kind of battle. So it might be that you have some trauma, some feelings of abandonment. And so it's no wonder that people avoid conflict or handle it poorly. We don't have a lot of really good examples out there of what it could look like. So the result of this is that even in the best situations, people end up feeling like they've compromised a part of themselves or feel dissatisfied. They don't necessarily feel heard. And, it's just like a big thud that ends up happening. So what I wanted to do to launch us here was do a centering exercise where we breathe deeply into that sense of connection with ourselves, which allows us to create connection with other people. If we don't have it in here, it's not up there. So I invite you to close your eyes and land deeply in the present moment where you are right here and now. It's the perfect place to be. You take a couple of deep breaths to allow yourself to sink into a relaxed state of being. Don't worry if you feel like you can't do this, you can. Just let it happen. Yeah, some sighs, some ahs, a little toning, can help release whatever might be getting in the way. Right, so I invite you, as you take a deep breath, on the out breath to say, I am at peace. Okay. And from this peaceful place, I want you to remember a time, when you experienced conflict that left you feeling yucky. Maybe you did your best to actively listen, and still the result was unsatisfactory. Maybe you were tolerating something hanging over you, or you are, and you haven't dealt with it yet. And you've ended up not feeling heard or validated or misunderstood, or your very important concern is not addressed. Actually, if you really think about it, your concerns have been mowed over. And so I want you to sit with that and just know that you can be at peace and calm and centered in the midst of feeling that yuck. Keep breathing. Keep feeling the ground. Know that you are safe here and now. Now go back to that situation from a place of being safe and peaceful, where you know that there's no way anything bad can happen to you. And you trust life to support you 100%. And you are 100% confident that you will get what you want or something better. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about that. Life is supporting you. It will happen. Just let it go. Take a moment to replay the conflict in your mind, this time with your heart wide open and connected to the other person or persons. Everyone is coming from a loving place, able to be honest about hurts, truths, and desires. Yes, this is a fantasy, and just go with it. replay the situation from a place of love and connection. Let's take another moment here to explore and imagine what could be possible. Feel that compassion for yourself, love for yourself, and how that changes everything. Okay, one last deep breath. Go ahead and open your eyes and come back, knowing that that conflict that we just tapped into is on its way to being resolved. Okay, so we have some stories to share with you about how conflict evolution can happen. And so Aubrey, what story can you share with us about a path out of dysfunction into conflict evolution?
Yeah, I actually have one that I've been working with a client on culture transformation for the last year, and we had something arise just in the last week or two on this topic. And so the first thing I want to say about conflict is a lot of times we avoid it because it's uncomfortable, right? And so people say that they let it go, but they don't really. They just say they do, or they try to sweep it under the rug and just pretend it doesn't exist. And that's what was happening here. And what I want to tell everyone who's listening to this is that is not true. You don't sweep things under the rug. People can still feel it. It's still present. The energy is still there. And that's what was happening with my client is she could tell that something was off with one of her employees. My client's a president of her own business, been in business for almost 40 years. And she could tell that there was something off. There was these like little weird behaviors that were unusual for this employee. And then one day it became really clear that it was no longer just a figment of her imagination, maybe, that it was real, that there's something really going on. And so I took the employee for a walk and we walked around the block and I asked her, I said, hey, what's going on? Like, you're not acting your normal, sparkly, vibrant, bubbly self. Like, what's happening? And I discovered that there had been another employee who quite honestly had been demonstrating some toxic behaviors, such as gossiping, such as being mean to people and having some mean girl syndromes. And she had done some of this gossip business in this employee's ear and was telling her stories about what the president had said about her. Mm-hmm. Now, and this is very traditional in conflict, right? Like I hear something and she was just keeping it quiet. She was letting it fester. She was letting it come out in all these really kind of ugly sideways. Mm-hmm. And so I talked to her about that a little bit. And ultimately I asked her, I said, what do you want in life? Like, what do you want in your career? Is where you're at where you want to be? And she's in an entry-level position. She's been there about a year. And she's like, no, I want to grow. I want to evolve. I want to increase my professionalism. Eventually I want to become a leader. So she had goals and aspirations. And so I helped her understand that in order for her to grow, this is part of her growth, is to be able to have this direct conversation from a place of connection, from a place of curiosity of like, did you really say these things about me? And clean it up.
Yeah. So Aubrey, I need you to get a little more specific. Yeah. What was the request you made of this person?
I asked her, I said, you know what, in this culture that we're creating, it is expected that we handle these moments head on and that we have the direct conversation. Okay. And I asked her if she was willing to do that.
Okay.
And she said, no. No. She's like, I'm not willing.
No, that was an honest response. No, I don't want to do this.
It was an honest response. And then she said, you know what? That is in and itself is growth, because last week I would have been like this, even though I didn't want to.
Oh, sweet.
And so I said, thank you. Thank you for your no. I honor your no.
Yeah.
And
so she felt safe to say no.
Yeah, she did. She did. So even that was her facing conflict, right? And so there's all these places where she's really stepping up and she is personally and professionally growing even before we actually address the actual conflict, right? Just to get to that point.
Yeah.
And so I dug in. I was like, tell me more about the no. What's the block? Like, what are you afraid of? And she was just like, it's just uncomfortable. This is just who I am. I don't speak up about these things. I don't do it in my marriage. I don't do it with my parents. I don't do it here.
Yeah.
And she confided that she was considering possibly leaving the organization because she didn't want to have, it was uncomfortable and she didn't want to deal with it. And so the best option was to leave.
Yeah.
And we've all been there, right? I'm sure we've all been there. We've seen our clients be there. And so I asked her, I said, well, where you're at right now does it feel good? Like, is this comfortable for you in the hiding and avoiding the conflict? And she was like, no. It's like, well, you realize if you don't address this and if you leave, that you're just going to be in this place for the rest of your life, avoiding conflict and not feeling good. And is that really what you want? And we laughed and she's like, no, that's not what I want either.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm here to support you. I will sit with you so you can have this conversation and you can clear it up. And I can tell you, and I asked her, I said, did the actions that that been demonstrated to you by the president, do they match the words you were told that she said about you?
Mm-hmm.
And she thought about it and she's like, no, actually.
Yeah.
And through that curiosity of her being able to really look at it, she came to me the next day and she's like, okay, I'm willing. Will you help me? And so we coordinated that, and I sat in there and I facilitated and I moderated, and the results of that is they cleared the air. They recognized where the misunderstanding was, the miscommunication.
Right.
The president did a great job of owning how she could have communicated what her message was to this other person in a cleaner way. So she had a learning there.
Nice.
And through this, she got to grow. She got to speak up. She got to be heard.
Yeah.
Which I feel like for women particularly, for us to be heard is so important. Now more than ever.
Yeah, I think beautiful. So this is different than what we had talked about ahead of time. And so I think it's wonderful. Like the whole idea of acknowledging the discomfort feels so important here. Like, let's get that on the table. And then putting somebody at choice, you have a choice about how to handle that also feels really important, right? At the same time, being clear about the expectation that this is how we're doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's worth highlighting because in most organizations or situations that do end up being dysfunctional, there's a whole, we don't have conflict. Like conflict is seen as a bad thing. Whereas in a truly healthy organization or relationship, conflict is a sign of health. Like we get stuff on the table and we deal with it. Yeah. Aubrey, are there any other really important points from your story that you want to highlight right now?
I think the old way of this business was very toxic, and that's why I'm there, is to shift it out of toxic and into thriving. And the old way was that they avoided it. They didn't deal with it at all. And how it helps build people's resilience. It helps build their confidence. It helps build trust because it's all out in the open. And those are the essential factors for the business to be successful.
And the leader recognized that this needed to happen, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Huge. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you. So Haven, what about you? What about a story that you could maybe share with us that shows us how we can reach that place of inner peace with conflict?
So it's interesting how we play out our relationships at work will mirror how we're playing them out at home and vice versa, right? So I had this client who was playing out this scenario with her partner at home where there was, both of them had this commitment in their conflicts of being right, and my client, she would say, for just once, I want to win. I'm always the one giving in, and it just feels so yucky, feels so sucky. I'm always the one that giving in and giving up, and I just want to be heard. I just want to be seen. So, we just kept digging deeper and digging deeper about, what is it that she wanted, and so she wanted that deep connection with her partner. She wanted him to see her, to understand what it was that she wanted to, the connection that she wanted in the relationship. So she just kept going in with curiosity and saying, what is it that you want? When we have these arguments, what is it that you're really looking for? And I see you, I hear you. And they'd have these big blow-ups and they both go to their corners. And then she'd say, to me, and I'd say, okay, go back in, with an open heart, an open mind, and just ask questions.
Yeah.
Just get curious again. Be fully present. Ask for the connection, and just ask him what he wants. Because it's these conflicts in evolution. It isn't going to happen overnight. It's over time. It's evolution. It evolves over time, and little by little, they started to really make a deeper connection and build a deeper relationship where, I don't know why we have these big blow-ups.
Right.
Why don't we figure out a way where we both get what we want? Why don't we figure out a way where we do some deeper listening, where I don't need to be right? Where is this coming from? It's just an old pattern, like these old grooves. It's just a habit of wanting to be right. And where did this come from? These new, deeper conversations, this willingness that when she decided, I'm just going to go into the conversation giving him what it is that I want. And then he was like, wow, what's going on here? I'm getting what I want. Maybe I can shift and change and give her what it is I want also. And they had started this new beautiful dance together. Now, of course, they still have the blow-ups, right? Because old habits die hard.
Right.
But when we make that shift, like you were saying in the beautiful meditation when we started, Karen, where we open our hearts and we envision something different. We show up giving what it is that we want.
Right.
The other person sees that shift and they get curious. Hey, what's going on here? I want what you're giving me, and I want to give that back. And so she started to see that shift at home, and she started to see that shift in all areas of her life, right?
I love it. So Haven, I have a burning question for you. This is like really burning for me, because as a woman, I have had that feeling of, fuck this. I'm always the one that has to give in and be the one to take the first step. Like I have that, I mean, I can feel tingles in my body as I'm saying that. Like, the men aren't doing this. I'm having to, okay, so how do you calm me down? What do you have to say?
I totally get that. Thank God one of us has the ability to slow down and breathe and bring that open-heartedness.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we are just going to be like this.
Right.
And it is moving from damn it to thankfulness, to gratitude.
For something I'm pissed off about?
Yeah. Because, you can stay pissed off and you guys can keep fighting and you can still keep feeling sucky and yucky.
Right.
Or you can move into a place of gratitude and say, thank goodness one of us is bringing a new heart and a new sensibility of curiosity and happiness and joy to figuring out a new way to dance with this.
Yes.
And the keto energy, a win-win dance.
Right.
You're going to come with me with your fist, and I'm going to open your fist, and grab it.
Yeah, beautiful. And I just want to add that I know for me in my anger, I still have some anger around this, that then becomes passion that I can use as fuel to help me stay in the conversation, right? Like, obviously it's important to me because I have some strong feelings about it, right? So Aubrey, did you have something you wanted to add?
I do, briefly, because I know we're getting toward the end of our time here. Part of this is our role as women, as the feminine, is to lead. And feminine leadership is all about connection and lifting each other up. And so really it's that place of, like, if you're always angry that you're the first one giving something up, is to take a look at that and shift it of, you're the leader. It's our job as women to lead and show men how to connect, because it's innate in our femininity.
Yes.
And it might be some resistance to being a leader. And so that there's another place there to look if women are having that resistance of surrendering to the fact that we're leaders.
Yes, leaders.
Work to do right now.
Yeah, and leaders in a different.
I have the visual of someone being injured on the, they're injured. And so when it's I have the imagery of us reaching down to pull them up.
Yeah.
Rather than I always have to do the work. It's they're hurt. They don't get it yet. So I'm going to reach down and pull them up to where they can see the light. Because they can't see them there.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. And I want to add that there's, you may not see this leadership demonstrated by men. And it's women, we as women who know how to do this kind of connecting and healing and reaching out that they don't know how to do. And it's really what's critically needed in the workplace and all in the world. So I want to real quick talk about some benefits that people can experience through this. Maybe we popcorn through some of this. So where does this take us?
Yeah, trust. First and foremost, when we are evolving how we handle conflict, it builds trust. Yes. Trust is the cornerstone for your business to achieve what it needs to achieve. You cannot do it effectively and efficiently without trust.
Yeah, beautiful. Haven, benefit.
Well, confidence.
Confidence, yes.
When we, we obviously our self-esteem, our confidence, our ability to feel safe to speak up when we feel like we're being seen and heard, and we have those deep connections.
Yeah, I know how to navigate these kind of difficult situations. I can do that. Yeah. Absolutely. And I want to add efficiencies, right? Like one of the things in the masculine world is we avoid conflict and that's efficient. And what we're saying is no. It's actually creating that swept under the rug stuff that's not getting dealt with. That's actually sabotaging your effectiveness. So by addressing conflict in this evolutionary way, we actually create greater efficiencies through collaboration and connection, which is what we are talking about. So I want to be able to have people take away steps with this. So if we could really quickly let people know, what does this look like to move into conflict evolution?
Yeah. So number one, we have to be aware. We have to be aware that conflict exists, right? I mean, Aubrey's client wasn't even, there was a little rumbling, but we have to sniff it out and we have to dig, right? We have to dig and we have to be willing to dig and uncover it. And we've got to be aware of when we're closed down, like you were saying at the beginning, Karen, when we're feeling defensive or when we're in that fixed mindset, like I'm gonna be right about this, and move into that place of curiosity, move into that open-hearted place. So we really have to be more in that growth from a business standpoint, move from the fixed mindset into the growth mindset. Yeah. And we gotta, be fully present. We've got to get to that place of connection. A lot of, like you were saying at the beginning, we want to avoid it. We're going to sweep it under the rug. And so what we really want to do is make sure that when we even get in fear, oh my God, I don't want to have that conversation, I'm going to send a text or an email instead. It's like, no, first I'm going to just connect with the person. They might have the same fear that I'm having. And so we just want to build that connection and own, I'm scared to death to talk about this, but you know what? Let's both stand in what it is that we're feeling and just talk it out.
Beautiful.
And then just be willing to stay in the conversation. Okay, I'm in a place where I don't feel comfortable. Let's both go to our corners or to our respective places and resume this later. Right. When I've had time to digest or talk about it, realizing it doesn't have to be resolved in one sitting. It can take place over time. Anything else you guys want to add to that?
I want to add curiosity. Curiosity is essential. So instead of being in that place where somebody says something and you're just responding in that attack battle mode, from a place of presence, really listening and like, what do they mean by that? And like what's behind what they're saying, and like really lean in from a place of curiosity. It's a totally different energy, and it releases that tension of the battle. When you lean in with curiosity of like, help me understand more about you, and it builds that connection place. So curiosity is huge.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to bottom line this conversation and just very quickly say that businesses are not with pressures that are coming to the marketplace, right? Businesses are not going to be able to afford the waste and inefficiency that comes from not addressing conflict. Like I saw with a friend this weekend, so a situation just exploded overnight because the tensions had built so much. And they do not yet have the capacity in that organization to address conflict. And so there's little explosions happening that are causing that business to implode. So we are at the place, either we address conflict in an ongoing evolutionary sort of way, or we are going to see more and more implosions happening. So our invitation to everyone is to move into this as a capacity, a skill that everybody can learn, and a capacity that can be within your business that will allow you to take this pressure in the marketplace and use it as an opportunity rather than as something that causes your business to implode. This is what is in front of us. So it's exciting, right? We could either be afraid of it or we could be excited about it, right? So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This has been a great conversation, Aubrey and Haven. Yay! Great experiences to share, right? And we're doing it, right? We're doing this important work. And so I want to say congratulations to us and everyone who's listening, who's willing to move into this. Remember to check your email for the recording and please share it with people. If you do have any questions or comments or thoughts, you can add those in the Q&A or chat section now, and we will address them in future conversations. We are taking input from people to guide us in the topics that we talk about. So we appreciate your input. We will have another video podcast next month. If you want to reach me, you can again find me at theiamway.com. Haven, where can people find you?
I am at havenecarter.com.
Okay, awesome. And Aubrey, where can people find you?
Aubrey at awakenyourgreatness.guru.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all. And until next month, happy conflicting.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.